Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on a partnership that's, well, it's pretty quiet, but it's absolutely shaping India's high-tech future. I'm talking about the relationship between India and Taiwan. It's this fascinating story of behind-the-scenes diplomacy and some seriously powerful technology. So, here's the big question, right? How on earth does India build this super critical tech partnership with a partner it doesn't even have formal diplomatic ties with? It's a fascinating puzzle, and honestly, it's a masterclass in modern diplomacy, and it's absolutely central to India's strategic goals. Okay, to really get what's happening now, we've got to jump in our time machine and go all the way back to 1995. Now, this wasn't just any old year. This was the year. It's the moment that laid the entire foundation for everything we're seeing today. Think about it. Before 1995, there was, well, pretty much nothing. Minimal engagement. But then, in 95, there was this really pragmatic reset. Both sides decided, hey, let's get something done. So they set up these representative offices. You had the India-Taipei Association, or ITA, over in Taipei, and the Taipei Economic and Cultural Center, or TECC, right here in New Delhi. Now, these aren't embassies, not officially, but they were, without a doubt, the first crucial bricks in the wall of this very strong partnership. And this brings us to a super important concept. For all you exam aspirants, get your highlighters out for this one, functionalism. This is the secret sauce, the entire guiding logic of the India-Taiwan relationship. The idea is simple. Forget all the high-level political drama, just focus on practical cooperation where it really matters. Trade, tech, investment. It's all about building bridges that actually work instead of getting hung up on political statements. Yeah, and check out this quote. It really hits the nail on the head. In 2001, India made a huge move. They posted a serving IFS officer, a career diplomat, to Taipei. This was a massive signal. It basically said, look, we're serious about this. This isn't just a test run. It converted, as the quote says, abstract intent into institutional muscle. India was in it for the long haul. All right, so the foundation is set. The institutional muscle is there. So what happens next? Well, a huge surge in economic activity. That's what. Let's dig into how this whole functionalism approach actually translated into big bucks. I mean, just look at this chart. The growth is incredible. It started as just a trickle of trade back in the late 90s. But look at where we are now in the 2020s. It has absolutely exploded. This isn't just about modest trade anymore. It's a strategic relationship. Taiwan is now a critical part of the supply chain that fuels India's Make in India and digital growth ambitions. Now, this is where things get really interesting. If you look at what we trade, you see what's called an asymmetric relationship. Taiwan sends us all the high-tech, high-value stuff, integrated circuits, networking gear, precision machinery, the critical components for Make in India. And what does India send back? Mostly raw materials. Now, you could look at that and see a dependency, and sure, that's part of it. But it's also a huge opportunity, a massive incentive for India to scale up its own high-tech manufacturing game. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about the one piece of tech that basically runs the modern world, semiconductors. Or, as you might know them, silicon chips. This, right here, is where the India-Taiwan partnership kicks into overdrive. So what does this collaboration actually look like? Well, it's not just one thing, it's the whole shebang. We're talking collaboration across the entire semiconductor ecosystem. It starts with step one, the design phase. That's VLSI, where we see universities and R&D centers working together. Then you move to step two, the actual fabrication, the fab plants. These are massive projects, like the one between Tata and Taiwan's PSMC. And finally, step three, you've got assembly and testing, OSAT, which is building out that downstream ecosystem with big names like HCL and Foxconn. Okay, that was a lot of info, I know. So for all of you studying for exams, here is a fantastic mnemonic to lock this all in. Just remember STIPS. Yep, STIPS. It stands for Semiconductors, Trade, Investment, People-to-People Ties, and State-Level Diplomacy. Got it? STIPS. Remember that, and you've got the key pillars of the entire relationship down. But this partnership isn't just being cooked up in the halls of power in New Delhi and Taipei. No. The real magic, the real momentum, is happening on the ground. It's being driven by individual states, by people, and by a very clever geopolitical strategy. And that brings us to another key piece of jargon to remember. It's called subnational diplomacy. What does that mean? It means Indian states, we're talking heavy hitters like Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Telangana, are cutting their own deals, creating direct partnerships with Taiwanese companies to bring in investment, build skills, and grow specific sectors. They're not waiting for the central government, they're making it happen themselves. So you might be wondering, how does India manage all this without causing a major diplomatic incident? Well, it's a brilliant balancing act. On one side, you have India's official stance, adherence to the One China policy, no high-profile defense deals. But on the other side, you have the practical action. Through the Act East policy, India is quietly but surely deepening these economic and tech ties to build its own resilience. It's a masterclass in walking a geopolitical tightrope. Okay, so we've looked at the past and the present. But what about the future? Where's this all heading? Well, buckle up because this quiet partnership is set to become even more important, with some really deep collaboration on the horizon. The future of this relationship is really going to play out across these 5 frontiers. We're talking about even deeper integration in the semiconductor ecosystem for sure, building more resilient supply chains so we're not so dependent on just one source, expanding that subnational diplomacy we just talked about, widening the education and skilling pipelines to create the talent we need, and finally, collaborating in frontier tech, stuff like space and AI. The potential here is just massive. Okay, time for a quick recap. For all the exam aspirants out there, listen up. This next part is especially for you. We're going to distill everything down to the absolute must-know takeaways. All right, this is it, your one-stop shop for revision. You might want to grab a screenshot of this. First, the hinge year, 1995, when the ITA and TECC were set up. The core logic? Functionalism, practical cooperation over formal politics. The key strategy on the ground? Subnational diplomacy, with states like Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Telangana leading the charge. The trade profile? It's asymmetric. We import more high-tech than we export. The big semiconductor collaborations? Tata PSMC for the fab and HCL Foxconn for OSAT. And this all fits within Taiwan's new southbound policy, in India's Act East framework. And don't you forget our mnemonic, STIPS. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. In a world where technology is the new currency of power, can this quiet, functional, under-the-radar partnership actually become India's trump card in the global tech race? The answer to that? Well, it could very well define India's future.